Growing up sometimes can be challenging, especially when you don't have that financial backbone to back you in every little thing that you're doing. Some people term it growing up in poverty because you're not financially stable as some other individuals. So growing up especially in poverty and in certain areas can be a major challenge. Some people cope, some people find different ways to deal with it, but in any event, it is very challenging. So, with us and set today to discuss what it is like growing up in so-called poverty, because we don't make poverty um, be the definition or of the last say because we beat that man. We were here to break down the barriers, the boundary that is set by poverty. So with us and set is none other than Miss Cheyenne Meikle. You have seen her from the wonderful podcast that she did describing our wonderful father that she possesses. So if you have not checked that out, you need to go to that podcast and give it. It's a part one and part two. So you need to go and check that. Definitely check that out. So as I said, with us is Miss Cheyenne, and we'll be discussing what is it like growing up not prevalent enough to do certain things. So we're gonna jump right into a little question segment. Um, what's what was it like growing up not being able to do certain or afford certain things that you see the kids around you having?
When you're growing up in poverty, you don't really know it
Yeah.
until you step out of the place. Because when you're growing up, let's say in a lower economical background, persons tend to all be poor, quote
Yeah.
unquote, around you. So it doesn't really impact your mindset
As much.
as much. But when you reach to, let's say, you're now at a traditional high school or at a high school where persons are a lot better, or coming from a better economical background, then it flips a switch. You're like,
See, because you get to look at it from a different angle, different
Exactly.
perspective. So then you can
Exactly.
compare.
Yes, so I remember when I was first time in high school. I went to a traditional high school, coming from a very inner community primary school. So everybody had the same experiences. Everybody was basically the same economical background. So now in first form, I saw persons that are coming from preparatory. Majority of persons came from a preparatory school.
Yeah.
And then I remember this one girl in particular, she said that she's doing dance. I was like, oh, where are you doing dance? At a community center? She's like, no, my parents pay for me to do ballet. And I was
Yeah.
like, that was just like a switch being
Yeah.
flipped. I'm like,
Interesting.
okay, what's going on here? And then the more I converse with these persons, the more I realize that their parents are lawyers and their
Yeah.
parents are in high corporate facilities. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? But then when I actually sat down and thought about it, I'm like, they're not much more better off than I am. Yes,
Yeah.
they have a good economical background, but we ended up the same place.
Exactly.
So I'm like, what's really going on?
So that's why you see, that's the reason why I said firstly, poverty does not define us. You cannot let poverty define you and think that because that person might be more financially stable than you are, that going to determine the fact that they're going to elevate more than you. It's all a mindset. So just remember that it's all a mindset. So what's your family's financial situation like when you were growing up?
So for my family, or for my household, my dad was the main breadwinner. For most persons' household, the father is the main breadwinner, and the mother stayed at home and ensured that his children go to school, they do their chores, homework, and all of that. So I remember one time in particular, it's the summer. It's always the summer that we felt like that blunt period where it's like all savings are drained and you just broke because
Yeah.
the children are at home. You're going to eat
They're
like
gonna eat
crazy.
more. Everything they're gonna consume more. So
Yeah,
I know.
you're eating it like crazy. So I remember I'm being home. I'm home. My mother is home, of course. And then I went up to her and was like, "Hey, I'm hungry." Obviously not like that because she's
Yeah.
a little. I'm like, "Hey, I'm hungry." She's like, "Well, you have to wait until your father come home. It's Friday, so it's payday, so you have to wait."
Because he'll bring something.
Exactly. And I remember we had this big mango tree in the yard. Like it's mango season, you know, it's summer, it's mango season. And I remember eating like 10 mangoes from morning to the night when daddy came home, because daddy didn't come home till like 8, 9 o'clock. And when he came home, he was like, "Okay, we're good now."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yes."
that is here, so everything is fine.
So the money had to stretch for the entirety of the week, but by the time Friday rolled around, it dwindled down so much so that we had to wait until daddy came home. So it's basically, it was hand to mouth, but it wasn't really hand to mouth because the mango tree really saved us. That's all.
Mango tree. If you don't have the mango tree in your yard, go plant one.
Go plant one.
Go plant one. So
any fruit tree.
any fruit tree, because if you don't benefit from it now, someone in your family will benefit from it. So if you have that yard space and there's no fruit tree in your yard, I would advise you to go and plant one. Right now, don't hesitate. Were there times when your family didn't have enough food or a stable place to live? How did that affect you?
It does affect the psyche so much because yes, at one point we didn't have enough food to eat.
Yeah.
So how it would work is that, let's say they go to the shop and buy pony rice and buy a tin, you know, the skinny tin mackerels. Used to buy
Slim
that.
mackerel.
Exactly. And at that point in time, it was 3 children in the house, aging from like 3 to 16, plus my mother, plus my father, and it was 5 of us eating 1 pony rice and a tin mackerel. And it's true when I say that not even God could stretch. Oh, my father stretched, like it stretched so far that you're full, you're hungry still, but you're full. You're like, okay, I'm satisfied.
Yes.
I'm not satisfied.
I won't go to bed hungry.
Won't go to bed hungry. So what we'll do is actually wait. So you get up in the morning, you drink some hot tea and you drink tea throughout the day.
You ensure that you break the gas first.
Yeah, you bust the gas. So from 9 when you wake up, because it's you're not going to wake up till 9, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Straight back till like 3, 4 o'clock when my mother knew that, okay, father's to reach home, let's start cooking something hot so that he gets something to eat. So it will it started cook at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. By 6, 7 o'clock, daddy will reach home.
Things ready.
Eat. You know your belly full, you got your bed. So that's just how that was like one little knack that they used to ensure that you don't go to bed hungry and you're not hungry in the morning portion. Because you're drinking tea, you're busting the gas. Because you ever like drink tea and your belly full?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you drink tea and your
because
belly full.
sometimes you just want to release the gas and you feel completely different.
Yeah, you're like, I know food me eat, but my belly full.
Exactly.
And,
so
and
when
you're fine.
When you actually get something now, it's like you get like a pep up there, so you can go through the day.
Go through.
Did you ever feel different from other kids because of money struggles?
I did feel different from other children, especially in primary school. Even though we were all growing up in the same, generally the same economical background, you still had persons who were better off. So I remember what my father did was that, because he gets paid on Friday, right? I remember this particular time in 2nd grade where dad used to trust lunch. So he'd be like, okay, just tell the teacher that I'll pay her on Friday when I come in. And I remember going to the teacher and telling the teacher that. And I was like, okay, cool. And she was like, okay, fine, cool. It's like the teacher knows that, hey, he won't pay.
Yeah.
But this one particular instance that made me feel so off-putting was when, daddy finally gave me $100. Back then it was $90 for lunch, and then you pay $100 if you want like a bag jokes with it.
$90 for lunch. So
$90 for lunch.
$90. No, that can't even buy a patty.
No. Not even a snack.
Not even a snack.
Not even another biscuit there. And I remember buying a pencil because I needed a pencil to go to school, obviously. Like, I needed a pencil, I bought the pencil. And the teacher was like, Shiny, not going to like give me the remaining $90 to like get lunch, blah blah blah. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Cause it's $90, and I felt so bad that I literally didn't want to give her the $90.
Yeah.
So I just pocketed it, and then the next time I went to her and said, "Hey, Daddy said, if I just get her lunch," she's like, "No." And then it was like in front of the entire class, and I felt so ashamed.
The way in which she said it like that.
She was like, "No," and I was like, "This." I was like 8. This is an 8-year-old child that you're talking to. One, we have.
She said it with no remorse.
No remorse, and I hated her from that day for that. I don't know, like even when I was in the 4th, 5th grade, and she would be like, "Hi, how are you?" I would not talk to her.
Yeah.
I don't even think she remembers that, but you know when it impacted
when you left a certain mark on someone, it stays with them.
So much so that when I'm like in the 4th grade, and obviously Dad is still letting me know that, okay, tell the teacher that you're going to want lunch today, and I'll pay. I told Miss Hamilton, oh my gosh, Miss Hamilton must remember this scenario. I didn't tell her. I was like, at lunchtime, what I'll do to offset everything, like not to put too much attention on me, I'll sweep the classroom.
Yeah.
I'd find something to do. I'd sweep the classroom, I'd go to the teacher and ask, "Hey, do you have anything for me to do? I want to do that." And she was like, "Aren't you having lunch?" I was like, "No, I'm fine, I'm not hungry."
Yeah.
And then,
just wanted to shift the attention.
Yes, and you know when the teacher really looking at you, like she sees you. I mean, I was about to cry when she said, "You know what, go sit down right there."
Yeah.
And she went down to the lunchroom, took a lunch from me, came back and was like, "Eat this, and next time don't do that again." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "I know what you're doing, don't do that again." And it impacted me so much that I'm like, someone saw me in that moment. So
even though you were trying to put on that persona, you were trying to cover up things.
Exactly. It was like, I don't know, that moment told me that somebody sees me, and it was amazing.
Someone realized the struggle. Someone realized the struggle. So sometimes you're out there, you're struggling. There's a guardian angel out there that's seeing you. So embrace your struggle sometime.
Yeah.
Because in the end,
It's going to be amazing.
there will be a difference in the end. So don't let your struggles define you. Things can change in the blink of an eye. Remember that. What's a childhood memory that stands out to you about living in poverty?
A childhood memory that stands out very particularly. Okay, it was when, when my father at this point in time, he smoked.
Yeah.
Like he smoked very hard when he was stressed. He smoked very hard. I was like, okay, you're going to die if you continue to do this. But I remember one particular day that I allowed him to do it because I knew that he was so stretched. It was when we were being kicked out of our house. I'm like, the bailiffs, bailiffs they call it? Came and took out every single thing.
Put it outside.
And I was just stood there and he asked me, "Can you just go and buy me like a cigarette?" I don't even know what name it was, but I just went and did it because I know that he needed that in that moment. And you know how it's a big excitement thing when somebody come and put you outside your house. Big.
Whole community. Whole community run come on, say. Scrutinize,
and I remember having to pick up the stuff because at that point in time we had somewhere to catch.
Yeah.
So I had to pick up the stuff and carry it to where we were going, and we had to pick it up, and everybody was just scrutinizing us. And just, little kids are mean, like children are so mean. Like they were laughing. I was like, "Oh, then put it out," and they started laughing. And
so they said it in there, but they did not really say it in a way like they cared.
Because honestly, they don't know what's going on. They just hear, and I was like, "Oh, that's a funny thing."
Yeah.
Because children they're so bold, they're so blatant. They don't business. They
just say whatever they want.
They're blunt. They're just gonna say it. And I just remember that. This is why I don't like people.
Yeah.
I think that's what made me not like people. So I just used to stay in and not come out ever. And it twisted my mind so much so that when I had a friend in primary school and she was light skinned, and she, when you're light skinned, you're automatically pretty.
Yeah.
And I remember we were sitting in my 5th grade class and we were talking about the houses that we're going to go. That little game that they play where, you're going to have 3 children, you're going to live here. And the friend just blurted out, "Oh, you live in a boat house. You're not going away." And then everybody...
That changes everything.
It changed. And everybody in the class was like, "You live in a board house?" Because part of the house is board and the other part is concrete.
Yeah.
And they were like, "You live in a board house?" And I was like, when you don't want to lie, but you don't want to tell the truth, I was like... And they were like, I need to go and stuff because I was very prim and proper. I'm still very prim and proper. But I'm like,
Yeah, you were just showing that your background or where you're coming from does not define you.
exactly.
So you're not gonna let certain situation hold you back. It's all on how you look at things, you know.
Exactly.
So you're not gonna let, because I am coming from this background, I am not living in an upscale building, so I'm gonna let that hold me from achieving
No.
something.
No.
It's all your perspective and how you look at life.
Exactly. And that's what everybody needs to know. Like, it's your perspective. Okay, you're in this position for an amount of time. Okay, let's stay in this position. But don't get too comfortable there.
Everything can change.
Don't get
It's just
comfortable
you have to
there.
push yourself.
Exactly.
Did poverty affect your education in any way, or did it push you? Especially like when you needed supplies and stuff for school. Did it affect you, or was it you use it as a momentum to try and propel yourself forward, to take yourself out of a certain situation?
I used it as a momentum to propel me and push me. Because as somebody that's growing up in the ghetto and that's in poverty, I use these things as a learning mechanism.
Yeah.
I'm now 22, but I remember when I was 12. I remember when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Like, everybody should remember those years. Those are pivotal years in
prime.
a person's life. I remember going to a traditional, passing for a traditional high school. Like, who knew that somebody from the ghetto can pass for a traditional high school? And when I passed, I'm like, when I went to this traditional high school, no, it's a different ball game. The number one, if I even say this, they're going to get which high school this is. The number one saying at that high school was dignity and decorum, and English is spoken here. Persons, when I open my mouth and I started speaking, they're like, where do you live, Beverly Hills? And I'm like, no, because that high school taught me English is spoken here and you must move with dignity and decorum. So growing up, it didn't impact my education. Because even though, you know, you're going to a traditional high school, your father has to pay, well, at this point, my father is still the breadwinner. My father has to pay all these bills because, you know, school fee high at traditional high school. Even though persons weren't paying it, like persons I knew like were well off, they're like, well, my parents not paying it. It's not like they're going to keep me out of school. My father was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pay it. They said to pay it, I'm going to pay it. Like, everybody in the bursary know my father. My father going to them and be like, hi, how much is school fee? It's $50,000. Okay.
No problem. I get it done.
I'm going to get it. I'll be back. Don't kick her out of school. And they're like, we don't do that.
Exactly.
Because what he was used to as a parent was, if you don't pay this,
you get put out.
you're going to get put out.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not going to embarrass my child.
Yeah. And
every single time that he comes to school, he tries his so very best to know
to
every
ensure.
single teacher ensuring that I'm on the right path. He goes to the teacher and be like, does she need anything? Do you see like she need anything? She need a book, pencil, anything? I'm like, Father, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine. Because so it is that the rental books, if they don't have rental books, they have to pay for it.
Yeah.
You have to pay for every single thing at that institution. It is so crazy. PE gears, badges, everything costs something. And I remember going back to school was the most stressful point in time for anybody. Because I know book I have to buy, school uniform I have to buy, every single thing has to be bought fresh. I had to get a different pair of uniform. Because you know your child is growing, you need different uniform.
Exactly.
It was so hard to see my father go through that. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to school and I'm going to be the best person ever. I'm going to be the smart. Well, I'm not the smartest, but I'm in the league with the smartest people.
No matter where they're coming from, no matter where their background status.
Like, I used to just look at them and be like, okay, this is the attribute that I want from this person. That's the attribute I want, and that's just how I'm picking. Because as somebody that's growing up in poverty, going to school, you don't really know what you're doing. You just have to look at everybody else and be like, okay,
there's a positive thing in that person.
So that's a positive, and then you just adapt to that, and then you just push yourself. And when you feel like you can't go no more, trust. That's the time that you can
push
go
more. That's the time when you push more. On the topic of school, did teachers or classmates treat you differently because of your financial status?
To be honest, I don't think teachers in the high school period of my life knew that I was coming
Knew
from
the challenges.
such a rough background, because when I'm at school, I'm not perky, but persons know that she fine. She's so great.
Yeah.
It was so much so that, you know how students at a particular point in time they have sleepovers and all of that. I was so embarrassed if somebody asked me, "Oh, can we sleep over your house?" I was like, "What do you mean?" No, you can't. And they thought I was being rude.
Yeah.
But there is literally nowhere for you to sleep. Where you gonna sleep?
Yeah.
Where you gonna sleep?
But because they don't understand
Exactly.
where you're coming from, the background where you're coming from, you just try to brush it off in a way.
Because they're used to their parents having 6-bedroom houses,
Yeah.
they have a guest bedroom, they have this big whole place.
So they're living lavish.
So they're living lavish, and then they come to my house, they realize that me and my older sister sharing bed.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What's going on?" It wasn't up until I was well into my college years, which is now, that I actually invited a friend over. She was like, "I understand now."
Yeah.
Like, she was like, "Oh, I see
So
why."
probably she was speculating before, but she never
Yeah,
get
she
it.
was like, "Okay, I see why now."
Yeah.
But it's not to the point when you know that when you know somebody so long, you know that they're not going to judge you.
Yes.
She's like, "Oh."
You're not going to
okay."
discriminate against nothing.
She's like, "I understand now,
Yeah.
but let's still have the sleepover because I'm still interested."
How did you stay motivated in school despite of the challenges?
How I stayed motivated was seeing what I wanted in life and definitely going to get it. Because as, again, somebody that is growing up in the ghetto, you see so many different aspects of life. So many how your life can turn out. You see, okay, that one got pregnant at 16, that one is now pregnant at 14, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want children.
Yeah, that not going to reach me.
That not reach me.
Never goal.
I have
Never
a
hear.
goal, and you don't really have role models in the community, because it's either they drop out of school, they don't go to traditional high school, the man from the corner, they might look you. There's always something that you're like, what's going on? So what I kept pushing me forward is like, this is not where I want to live, for one. If I do have children, I don't want them to know this type of life, even though it's good to have children knowing that type of life. And this is just not what I want. Like, I used to pick role models in school.
Yeah.
If my form teacher at the time is a female, I'm like, okay, let me see if this is a person that I want to be a role model.
Yeah.
And then you're like, probably not her.
Yeah.
And I finally found a couple. I'm like, yes, this is the type of life that I aspire to have.
Yeah.
Traveling, seeing the world. And with traditional high school, it just opens up your mind scope. You're like, okay, you can have this, but you can't have that. You just have to choose. You can't say, okay, you want to do a particular thing, but it's not lining up with the goals that you want to have in life. So you just have to push yourself forward because of the type of life that you want to have.
Saying that goes, and then the next question that I was just going to ask. I was going to ask, were there any mentors or program that help you along the way? And you say you saw someone, so basically you saw a quality in those individuals that you aspire to be like.
Definitely. Because it's if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have a role model, you're just going to drop. Why I say this? You can't just say, okay, I want this type of life, but don't know how to get this type of life. You don't have advice on how something can be done. You might think that, okay, this is the only way it can be done.
And there's actually
and
many
there's
ways.
so many other ways, but you won't know it if you don't have a role model, if you don't have a
because
mentor.
you're not exposed to those other methods.
You're not exposed to these things. This is why having a mentor, it doesn't have to be somebody that's older than you.
Yeah.
A mentor can be somebody that's younger than you,
Or
but have a
younger than you, same
vast-
age, but they are more experienced in certain
Exactly,
things.
they have a vast knowledge. And it doesn't have to, even if you're a guy, it doesn't have to be a male, it can be a female as well. You can just go to somebody and ask questions. You don't have to have one mentor. You can have multiple persons, have multiple mentors. If I have a question in one field, I know exactly who to go to.
Exactly.
I have a question in another field, I know who to go to. Because one person is not going to know
it all.
every single thing, but they're going to have experience in a particular field. So you need
So
to
they
know.
can advise you on certain things.
Exactly. You need to know who to go to, when to go to.
Yeah.
That's all.
Did poverty affect your self-esteem or mental health growing up, or it did not really affect you at all?
It did impact me a lot
Yeah.
because you grow up with this feeling of you're small. When you're in poverty, oh, you're small, you're like the ant, and everybody is like the lizards going to come and eat you, which is not true. Because when you are at a particular point in your time, you have to realize that being small is not going to do anything for you. And currently, I would not have dreamed to be in an internship for a job position that I want to do when I'm older.
Yeah.
That is going to make me tons of money.
Yeah.
I did not expect to have that. When I was younger, I'm like, okay, it's just best to like sit here and be quiet. When you're in high school, I remember having that very first orientation, and they're like, do not be quiet here.
You need to speak up.
You need to speak up because you're not a child. Because when you're in high school, you're 12, 13, you're in your teenage years.
Yeah.
This is your prime years. These are when you're supposed to make mistakes.
Yeah,
you're
learn
supposed
from it
to
from
get
early.
counseling.
Yeah.
Learn.
So by the time you reach at a certain age, you already know that, okay, I went through this and I did this, so I already overcome that.
Exactly, like learn in your teenage years, because those are the years that you mess up, somebody will catch you. Because you look up in it.
Exactly.
When you're 20, 23, 24,
Nobody
when
no
you're
business with you.
the people are going to say, oh, look at she and walk.
No, nobody business with you.
Like, don't be afraid to ask, don't be small. My mother used to tell me, even though she's a bad person, she's like, how she's grew up,
Yeah.
she likes to say, okay, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
But I'm like, in this point in time, you should.
Yeah.
She used to tell me, go back in your shell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll say my shell at home. But you see, at school,
There's a difference.
different. Because when I'm at school, like my father used to just drop in randomly. I don't know why he did it, but he used to just drop in randomly and see me in class chatting.
Yeah.
And then he'd put the teacher and say, so she chat too much? When she's at home, she doesn't do this. And then it got so much so that when I'm at school, that different persona, they're like, okay, we like this Cheyenne. And then I start implementing it at home. And then my mother is like, okay, I see you. I see you. And you just have to grow. If you can't grow in one environment, take yourself out and grow in a different one.
Grow in the next.
You need to, because when you start growing in this one, automatically you're going to start flourishing in the others.
Exactly. So don't stuck yourself one place. You plant yourself here. You realize that over there, so look at more water. Go over there, so get the water, grow, and there'll be wonderful fruit. Did you ever feel ashamed or try to hide your financial struggles from others at any point in time?
I always will. I still do, because I'm still growing up, quote unquote, poverty, but I'm a lot more better off now.
Yeah.
And I used to feel so ashamed in like high school, because high school is like that pivotal moment when everything clicked.
Yeah.
So I'd be in high school, and I remember everybody's lunch money was $1,000. It was just that across the board, $1,000, because lunch was like $350. Then they buy a juice $150, bus fare to go and come. Suppose they want a bottle of water, like it was just on a random, it's $1,000, but mine was $500.
Yeah.
So that's 50%.
Cut.
And then I can't really tell my father that lunch money for you after $1,000.
Yeah, because you already knew of
the financial situation.
struggle.
So I'm like, what am I gonna do? I brought Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
And then when them cook on Monday, I bring for Tuesday.
So you find ways and means
Exactly.
to ensure that it works.
When them cook on Tuesday, I carry Wednesday, I carry a sandwich on Thursday, and by Friday I can mean out.
Alright.
What we used to do on Friday, because this is why I normally brought lunch, what they used to do on Friday that they introduced us to was, you can go to KFC, go buy food and come back. So if you want KFC, you have to go save your money. And
from the week coming down.
And I didn't want to be the odd one
out. So ensure that you did that.
So all my friends going to KFC.
You need to go too. You need to go too.
Normally it was like $495 for like a one piece, but every time I bought the one piece, they're like one piece that cheeky. So I had to, get the next $500, but then again, them I want to go larger and juice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, every time they do something new, I'm like, okay, how am I going to save more money?
You try to
It was
find
so
more
crazy.
ways and
Exactly.
means.
So in one point I was ashamed, the other point it taught me how to
Yeah,
save.
man.
Like
So in every bad situation, there's
There's
a
something
learning opportunity there.
Yes.
So if you're not learning from your bad, so-called bad situation, you need to find a way to turn that bad situation into a positive and learn, ensure that you're learning from it. How did you handle friendship or relationship when money was an issue?
even in my now relationship, I don't really like to put it out because I'm still broke. Like I'm in college. I feel like college drains you financially, it drains you mentally, but it drains you financially in a whole different aspect because you go into school, you have to pay the school, and there are always some miscellaneous fees to pay.
Yeah.
So right now, my bank account says 0. So in my relationship,
Not for long.
not for long, definitely not. So in my relationship with my boyfriend right now, he is in his internship here and he's getting paid a good amount of money. I believe it's a good amount of money.
Yeah.
And he knows how to save very, 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 very well. And I'd be pissed off. Meaning, I'd be like, okay, I want to buy this for him, and I can't buy it. I'm not enough. And then, you know how you want to spoil somebody, but you can't because you don't have the money.
Financial.
But when they're doing it, it's like you feel so bad because you can't reciprocate it.
Yeah.
So sometimes when he's like, oh, I want to buy you this or I'm going to buy you this, I'm like, please.
And you would feel so
I'd be
good
so-
to return the favor.
Exactly. And when he says, oh, I'm going to buy this or I'm going to buy that, I'm like, please do not. I want it, but please don't.
Yeah.
Because it feels like I'm using him. Or I'm using, even in friendships, when my friends are like, okay, we're going out, I'm like, girl, I don't have no money. She's like, I got you. I'm like, I know you got me, but I want to get you too.
Yeah, I want to get me and get you.
Exactly. So I'm like, I don't want to feel as though I'm using my friends or using my boyfriend. But sometimes I'm like, you know, when as I get paid, I'm going to be like, girl, let's link up. I'm going to buy you something. Or I'm going to buy him something that's expeditious. You see, when I start getting millions of dollars, you can't talk to me, no, and I go, no. Like, see, my friend
You're going to remember her.
See, my friend them got it locked.
The real friend them.
Real
not
friend,
the little.
not the little. Like, I've known my friends so long. I've known them since 7th grade.
Yeah.
So.
Were there moments when you felt hopeless? What kept you going in times like that?
In times of feeling hopelessness, in reference to financial aspect of poverty, sometimes you just have to sit down and be like, okay, I can't do that, it's fine. And I am so very thankful that I have an older brother that I can say, they get $5,000. Like, I don't know, like, he should be the one that is so exasperated by me. This week I asked him for $2,000 thus far. Last week it was $10,000. And he's like, you want money? Fine, cool, here it is. Because I believe he understands that at this point in time, it is like broke.
Yeah.
It's giving broke and it is broke. And you just need some help every now and then. So when I'm feeling hopeless and I know that, okay, I have this to pay for, that to pay for, I'm going to call Shane and be like, can you give me $5,000?
So sometimes it's not bad to
bad.
reach out to someone that you know can and will help you, and will not take advantage of the situation that you're in. So sometimes you can, no man's a island, no man's alone. Sometimes reach out to somebody. It's not bad to reach out to somebody. How was your upbringing? How was your upbringing shaped the way you view money and success in today's life?
For money and success, when I was younger, you know that when you're poor, you know you're poor. So when I'm younger, I'm like, okay, when I reach, when I grow up, I want a whole heap of money.
Yeah.
I want money. And then when you're older, you're like, money really isn't everything. Like having
peace and happiness.
It gives you peace and happiness.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's just something that's so materialistic. It's just a means of exchange. So I'm like, is that really success? Or is success knowing that you have persons in your corner that is able to pull you out of a bad situation, not give you money?
Yeah.
Because if it is that I want somebody to give me money, I know exactly who to call, when to call them, but provide me with the ability to make my own money.
Is the difference?
It's so much difference. You know the saying about give a man a fish, he eats
Yeah,
for a day,
yeah.
teach a man how to fish? That is what success is, point blank, period. Success is going to be you knowing how to get what you want and you being able to achieve it. That is it.
You heard that? I hope you're listening. I hope you're listening and you're taking notes. What were some creative ways your family save money and make things work?
How daddy saves money? Because no offense to my mother doesn't save. Like my
They
mother
spend.
spend a lot. You know that it complements them. Like one spend hard
And
and
one
the other
save
one
hard.
save hard. Like dad has saving pans. Like he has saving pans of money. Like if he gets paid $10,000 from somebody, he's putting $5,000 in the pan. If he gets paid $100,000, he's putting 50% of it in the pan, and that's just how he does it. And I'm like, sir, we're broke and hungry right now. What do you mean?
You save all of the money. You save all of the money.
You save all of the money for what? He's like, no man, there's going to be a rainy day.
Exactly.
There is going to be a rainy day. Right now, if we spend off everything and rain pours, we are going to
You don't have no help.
Exactly.
You have nothing to, no bucketive.
And he knows this. So now that he saved quite amount of money, he's able to achieve his goal.
Yeah.
And I see it happen. I'm like, this is how it works then. So now when I'm getting paid, what I do is
Ensure you save.
ensure I save.
So
Not
everything it does affect you. You know, when you reflect on it and look at it, it can help you
exactly.
in the long run.
So not really 50% because
Yeah.
I can't say 50%. But you know, you have
Not
the,
yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You have like the 20, 30, 50 rule. So 50% is bills.
Yeah.
30%, no, 20% is savings, and 30% I believe is like investment and everyday to day spending.
Yeah.
So that's just how I have to be splitting up my money. I don't really have bills to pay besides the Spotify and all the amusements that
Yeah.
I have. So
To
I
enjoy
can
your life a
save.
bit more, yeah.
Yeah, but I can save. In this point in time, my father also tell me, enjoy your life, no, because I say when you're grown, sorry for you.
Enjoy your life.
Enjoy your
But save
life.
at the same time.
Save at the same
So when
time.
the rainy day they come, you can
Get a boat.
you can buy a shelter.
Exactly.
Put something over your head. Were there times when you rely on community resources to help you go along? You have to lean on the community or members in the community?
Not so much, but my aunt and I have family in the community. So how it would work is that my parents used to go work every single day, even on Sundays. So you know that I go in at this auntie house for Sunday dinner, got a one day for Monday food, a one day for Tuesday food, and that's just how I circle them. I go to my brother for this particular thing.
So you have everybody you could just jump to and say, okay,
Everybody.
I go to that one day yesterday, so I'm now go to that one day tomorrow. So
Sometimes
you
I
switch it
have
up.
like 3 Sunday food. One Sunday. I go to my grandmother, I go to Auntie Julie, I go to Auntie Audrey, I go to Shane. I'm like, okay, I have food.
So you see, no matter the situation that you're in, there's always a work around it. So don't let the situation defines you, and don't feel stuck. Always find a way and a means to see the positive, because you see she have her aunties and stuff where she can go to. So always look at the positive, no matter what you're going through. There's always positive. You need to find the positive. There's always positive, no matter how low you think you are. Somebody out there probably experiencing worse.
There's always
So
someone
don't blame
experiencing
yourself, don't beat yourself. Just try and find a positive out of all of the negative that you're facing, and it will work out. Don't drown yourself in this so-called poverty situation. No, hold on for the straw, dry yourself out. There is a way out. Don't tell yourself that there isn't a way out. There's always a way out, and sometimes the best way out is getting a good education. That is a key factor. Getting a good education. Not saying everyone that's in poverty or living in a certain area and community are don'ts. No, but you want to elevate, you want to take yourself out of the way that you grew up and you don't want your family that you're going to create to grow the same way and go through all of these troubles, which, might I add, some of these troubles can actually help you and form you into a wonderful person and let you know what it is like to don't have something. Because a lot of people out there might achieve something, but when they lose it all, they don't know how to operate because they don't understand what it was like not having. So when you understand what it's like to don't have, when you have and you lose it, you know to balance back out yourself and build back. But when you grew up having everything handed down to you, you don't actually know how to go out and get it on your own. Some without a certain education, background, or a certain mindset and experience, something happened and you lose all of that. How are you going to, how are you going to get it back? You don't know the first thing to do to get it back. Because you don't have that mindset, you was not brought up a certain way, so you just stuck. And then you start stress, you get depressed. So sometimes growing up a certain way, it can be challenging, but it can build you into a better person in the future. So don't just say, I'm growing up like this, I don't have this, I'm not exposed to this, so my life's going to... No. You determine how your life turn out. No matter the situation, no matter the poverty status, no matter what you're going through. Look, for example, look at this man right here. Look at Usain Bolt. He never grew up rich.
Poor man.
He did not grow up rich, you know. But look at him now.
And even when he was like running, his very first race, he lost.
Exactly.
And then somebody, a coach, saw the potential in him, and he worked, he trained hard, he went to school. Now he's a what, multi-billionaire?
Exactly. So don't give up. Keep on pushing, no matter what the situation is. Final question that I want to ask. How do you define success, or how would you define success now compared to when you were younger and you used to look at it in a certain way? Growing older now, being more mature, being more exposed to certain things. How would you, I know you touched on it earlier, I know, but how would you really define success now?
For me, success is definitely the ability to grow and develop into whomever you want to be. So it's not about financial gains, it's not about educational gains, but it's about putting yourself in a position where you know that, okay, this self is going to suffer for a little bit, but that self down the road is going to be a little bit better. It's putting the measures in place for right now so that your tomorrow, yourself, your tomorrow, let's say your name is Jane, tomorrow Jane is going to be better. 2 years from now, Jane is going to be even better off. That's success for me.
What's success for you? How do you define success? Is success for you all about money? Is success for you achieving a goal that you set? What is your definition of success? How do you look at success? She told you how she looked at it. What is your way of looking at it? So, poverty. Don't let poverty, situations, the way you grow up, don't let none of that hold you back and stop you from actually achieving your dreams and your goals. Find a way to push yourself, find a way to propel yourself. Use those bad situations and push yourself. Be your own, sometimes be your own motivator, your own mentor. Speak to yourself, speak life into your bad situation, speak life into your dead situation, and you'll be surprised. The help will come. You might not even know where it's coming from. But once you stay positive and you keep pushing yourself, it will happen. Is there anything that you would like to leave with them before we close?
Definitely just always believe in yourself. What I'll do is like every now and then I'll do like a little affirmation It doesn't have to be much. You can just say, I am beautiful, I am smart. Just, little things that pushes you to do and be the best you. So just give yourself a little pep talk and be like, okay, today is going to be a good day. Speak life over yourself, as he said. Today is going to be a good day. Or throughout the day, you're going to be like, okay, it's been a bad day so far. It's been a not so good day. The rest of the day is going to be amazing.
That's it.
That's
There's nothing else. There's nothing else to be said or done. Speak positive, no matter what's going on in your life right now. Your now does not define your today, does not define your tomorrow. So continue to speak life, speak positive, be positive, and you will eventually see the results in your tomorrow. Thank you again for joining us and Just Talk. Just Talk, one Just Talk. Remember to follow us on all social media platforms. See you soon.